Against a tranquil night sky, a solitary boy sits perched on a crescent moon, his fishing line cast into a still lake below. This is the emblem for DreamWorks Pictures, a whimsical piece of animation that immediately came to represent a new Hollywood titan. Despite its timeless quality, the DreamWorks logo is distinctly modern, arriving almost 80 years after its classic Golden Age counterparts. The emblem's relative youth isn't the only thing that sets it apart from those older movie studio logos. The great Hollywood emblems of the past were often bombastic, built on power and authority. Think of the towering 20th Century Fox monument, with its sweeping searchlights and triumphant fanfare, or the thunderous roar of the MGM lion. Think of the regal Columbia Pictures Torch Lady, standing atop her pedestal with a blazing light held high, or the bold, gleaming Warner Brothers shield filling the frame. By contrast, the DreamWorks logo takes a very different approach. So, how did this gentle little image rise to stand alongside the biggest and loudest symbols in film history? Grab a fishing pole and join me for a trip to the clouds as we explore the origins of the DreamWorks logo and uncover the true identity of the boy on the moon. I'm Michael Cahill. Welcome to another episode of Into the Logoverse. Thanks so much for watching. If you enjoy this content, please consider hitting the like button. If you haven't already, please also consider subscribing. Now, let's hit the rewind button back to 1994. Jeffrey Katzenberg had just spent a decade as chairman of Walt Disney Studios, helping to engineer Disney's animation renaissance in the late 80s and early 90s. But following a bitter executive power struggle, Katzenberg was abruptly forced out. Undeterred, Katzenberg approached two close friends, visionary director Steven Spielberg and legendary music mogul David Geffen. Katzenberg had a revolutionary proposal. The trio would create a brand new, fully integrated Hollywood studio from the ground up. The 1980s had seen the emergence of Orion, TriStar, and New Line Cinema, but those companies were modest by comparison. Katzenberg wasn't suggesting a distribution deal or another mid-tier label. This would be the first new major studio in generations, one capable of standing shoulder to shoulder with the Golden Age giants. A studio bringing film, animation, music, TV, and cutting-edge special effects all under one roof. They called their company DreamWorks SKG, the initials standing for Spielberg, Katzenberg, and Geffen. For such an ambitious project, they needed an equally ambitious logo. Unsurprisingly, Spielberg took the creative reins. He instinctively understood that the right emblem could define a studio's identity for decades, maybe even a century. Spielberg wanted something timeless, something that channeled the Golden Age era he spent his youth worshipping, but quieter and more peaceful. Whether consciously or not, Spielberg picked up on a key visual motif found in many studio emblems: clouds. You see them again and again. They've become an unofficial symbol of Hollywood myth and magic. Columbia's Torch Lady often stands against a sea of clouds. TriStar's Pegasus gallops through them. The Warner Brothers shield floats in a cloudy sky. Let's not forget the clouds surrounding the Paramount Mountain, or the ones drifting behind the 20th Century Fox monument. Spielberg wanted the DreamWorks logo to join that tradition, incorporating a majestic cloudscape. His initial idea involved a vague figure fishing on the moon, imagined as an adult man. To animate this concept, Spielberg turned to the visual effects company he trusted the most, Industrial Light and Magic. Remember, this was the mid-90s. Jurassic Park had just changed the world of visual effects forever.
An adventure 65 million years in the making. Jurassic Park.
CGI was the new frontier, and Spielberg wanted DreamWorks to be on the leading edge of that new technology, using the logo as a showcase for computer-generated imagery. But like I said, this was the mid-90s. Believe it or not, ILM just couldn't get the computers of the time to create the soft, moody cloudscape that Spielberg had in mind. ILM's senior visual effects supervisor Dennis Muren made a pivotal suggestion. Instead of a radical step forward, let's try a radical step back. Muren contacted Robert Hunt, a local artist who lived just minutes away from ILM's offices. A painter known for lush and dramatic imagery, Hunt had actually collaborated with Spielberg before, creating poster artwork for earlier projects. Muren gave Hunt an urgent task: create a traditional hand-painted image of a cloudscape. Quickly. Hunt had less than a day before the painting had to be put on a plane and flown to Spielberg. ILM sent over a package with reference frames and notes, including what wasn't working. Hunt absorbed the criteria, went to his studio, and created a small 10 by 14 inch oil painting filled with towering clouds. Exactly the kind that would eventually grace the final logo. But on his own initiative, Hunt decided to add a little something extra. While the brief was only for the clouds, Hunt saw a vague reference in the ILM materials hinting at a figure on the crescent moon. Rather than the CGI adult man Spielberg initially envisioned, Hunt was inspired to draw a figure representing youth and innocence. He brought his young son William into the studio, had him sit on a small trash can, and quickly sketched the silhouette of a child with a fishing pole. Hunt delivered both the main painting and the unrequested sketch to ILM. When Spielberg saw the cloudscape, he loved it. Encouraged by his reaction, ILM took a gamble and showed him Hunt's picture of the boy on the moon. Spielberg had been searching for an image that felt iconic, and Hunt's sketch was exactly that. According to Hunt, Spielberg reportedly declared, "This is what I want, and whoever did this is who I want to do it." The final animation would be a composite built from 18 completely analog oil paintings, done on gator board and layered using techniques similar to a Disney multi-plane camera. We open on a serene, cloudy blue sky. Or so we think. Suddenly, a CGI fishing bobber plops down. The entire image is actually a reflection in a calm body of water. Ripples spread outward. Also a digital creation by ILM, just like the fishing bobber. The camera then pans upward. There, William Hunt, now immortalized as the Moon Boy, sits casually on the crescent, gently swinging one leg as his line drifts below. Symbolically, the boy isn't catching fish, but rather fishing for ideas, waiting for inspiration to bite. Live action footage of William pretending to fish was shot and superimposed inside the logo. The large, elegant D in DreamWorks is then formed by the crescent moon itself, locking the image and the text together. Notice how the clouds drift to initially obscure the DreamWorks name. Hunt's clouds aren't part of a passive background. Instead, they actually help tell a visual story, creating a sense of anticipation and curiosity before the studio name is fully revealed. The remaining letters settle into place, along with the identifying SKG initials of the three founders, all framed by the cloudscape that originated from Robert Hunt's paintings. The logo's storybook-style imagery is complemented by a wistful musical theme from the legendary John Williams. Interestingly, the logo sparked a small side controversy when Michael Jackson's camp accused DreamWorks of copying the symbol for his infamous Neverland Ranch. And yes, while both images do share a certain Peter Pan-like quality, the similarities really were just a coincidence. In fact, Jackson's artists based the Neverland design on cover art from a 1909 Ladies' Home Journal, meaning the Neverland logo was hardly original. In 1997, The Peacemaker became the first film to debut the DreamWorks emblem on the big screen. The studio followed with an incredible string of successes. Saving Private Ryan redefined the modern war film. American Beauty captured the cultural moment and won an Academy Award for Best Picture. Gladiator resurrected the period epic and claimed the same win just a year later. DreamWorks co-produced A Beautiful Mind, which scored the top prize following Gladiator, giving the studio 3 straight Best Picture winners. While Shrek not only reinvented the animated comedy, it also went on to win the first Academy Award for Best Animated Feature. In the blink of an eye, DreamWorks had gone from a bold upstart to an Oscar-winning powerhouse. Variations of the logo were kept to a minimum. 2 examples include the sepia-tinted version from Gladiator and the glitchy, eerily green version from the 2002 horror remake, The Ring. During this early run, the logo had to represent both live-action films and the emerging animation division, so The Boy on the Moon appeared before everything, from Amistad and Minority Report to The Prince of Egypt and The Road to El Dorado. But that would all change starting in 2004, when DreamWorks Animation, or DWA, was spun off into its own publicly traded company. I'll save their story for another video. Today, the DreamWorks name carries a different weight than it did at the turn of the millennium. As a live-action studio, DreamWorks Pictures is no longer the dominant powerhouse it was in the late 1990s and early 2000s. Katzenberg and Geffen have long since stepped away, and the company itself has passed through multiple corporate eras, ownership changes, and distribution deals. But the logo endures. Steven Spielberg still continues to use the DreamWorks Pictures banner for select projects. As for the Moon Boy himself, well, he's no longer a boy. William Hunt has grown up and carved out his own career in Hollywood as a successful music composer for movie trailers. But thanks to the brilliant work of his father and a few other creative visionaries, William will forever live on as the Moon Boy, perched on his crescent, fishing for that next great idea. I'm Michael Cahill. Thanks so much for watching. Until next time.